Hey, Dr. Robertson.
Hey, Dr. Mosley, how are you?
Doing good. What are we talking about today?
Today we're going to talk about signs of intoxication.
Woo! All right.
So, and we've talked in here about that you're responsible for serving someone. We've talked about counting drinks and that it's also illegal to serve someone who is intoxicated. So, how do we tell when someone is intoxicated?
That's a good question. Let's check it out.
So, these are the big ones, and we're going to get in more detail on all of these. So look for physical and behavioral changes. And it's the change in behavior that's more important than the behavior itself. So if someone is normally quiet and reserved and they're sitting there dancing on the bar, that's a significant change in behavior.
Wait, how? How? I mean, they're still quiet.
But it also goes the other way. If someone is normally the life of the party and always joking around laughing, and they're sitting there on the bar with their face down crying, that's a change of behavior. If someone is sullen, who is normally very talkative. So what we're looking for is changes in behavior.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Communication. So we talk with our guests throughout the shift to just kind of be aware, to judge their behavior.
Yeah.
And then we've got the indicators here that we're going to get into in more detail. So relaxed inhibitions, impaired judgment, slowed reaction times, and impaired motor coordination.
I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, how'd you find these pictures of me? It's horrible.
So, relaxed inhibitions. So if these guys hadn't had a lot to drink, do you think this picture would have been a good idea?
Probably not,
Inhibitions prevent you from doing things that may not be acceptable. Like I said in an earlier slide, your frontal lobe of your brain is responsible. That's the brake. That's the one that limits your behavior. Yeah. It's the one that stops you from indulging all of your bad impulses. And when you drink alcohol, you deaden the frontal lobes, and suddenly all those ideas that normally wouldn't make it out seem like a good idea.
Hold my beer. Check this out.
So, relaxed inhibitions, that's a sign. Somebody's taking their shirt off, somebody's dancing, someone's talking loud, someone's using language they wouldn't ordinarily use.
If I'm speaking in the Queen's English, we know that there's something wrong with me.
So
sorry.
That's one sign that we look for, relaxed inhibitions. They may be overly friendly. They may become depressed or quiet.
I love you, man. It's just you're the greatest. Let me buy you a drink. The whole bar. Yeah, it's
going out with a friend of mine who's a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Then she became a principal and ultimately became a superintendent. But she was a kindergarten teacher. We went out one night and she had too much to drink. And I just remember her yelling MF or really loud in the bar repeatedly. And it's like, I think you've had too much to drink.
Hey, maybe it's just how she talks to her students,
Kindergarten teacher, man.
Exactly. Have you been around kindergartners?
I guess that's true. Someone becomes loud. Someone becomes rude. These are all signs that their inhibitions have been relaxed. That's one indicator that they've been overserved.
Yeah.
Impaired judgment. The inability to make a sensible decision. So, this looks like a good idea.
Hey, here, hold my beer. I got a great idea. All right. Oh.
In the cold light of day without a number of drinks, would having a power strip powering your griddle in the middle of your pool seem like a good idea?
But sometimes you just got to let Darwin do the job, man.
At least they use the flip-flop so it's floating, so it's not in the water with them.
Yeah. I mean, they thought about it clearly.
Yeah. So making sensible decisions. So some of the ways this can show up. If someone starts complaining about the strength of a drink, this is a sign usually that they've had, that their judgment is becoming impaired. They're less able to judge the amount of alcohol in it. They're saying, hey, you're watering this down. Give me a strong, put some alcohol in it this time. And that sort of stuff.
Well, my whole cue is always to complain on the first drink. Oh.
If they start drinking faster, people start pounding drinks, or they start, you know, or suddenly they've been having beer and suddenly they start ordering Boilermakers, a shot and a beer together.
Yeah.
You know, they start ordering stronger drinks, bigger drinks, fishbowl margaritas. If they become irrational or argumentative, you know, like someone isn't making sense or they're just looking for a fight, this is impaired judgment. They become careless with their money. If someone stands up and says, hey, drinks on me for the whole bar, they're probably drunk. You probably shouldn't serve them anymore.
Yeah.
So when people become careless with their money, given, you know, tipping inappropriately. Now, again, that creates this challenge for the person as a server because they're there to make tips.
Yeah.
But that's a sign that they may have impaired judgment.
Yeah, so you might want to cut them off after you get, oh, wait.
Slow reaction time.
I don't know. The guy looks like he's just doing yoga on a bus bench. It looks fine.
Yeah. So talking more slowly. Now, as a born and bred Southerner, you know, I can sometimes talk kind of slowly, just in my normal speech pattern. But if it slows down even more, or someone, you know, someone's having to think about
there's going to be a turtle that's upset with you because it thinks you're mocking it.
Yeah. If you lose your train of thought, like you're telling a story and it's like, what was I talking about?
Are we sure these are just signs of drinking and not getting old? Because this happens to me.
It's also just kind of who I am. It's like, you know, the absent-minded professor thing is real.
My God, that's a giant lizard. Sorry.
You got a lizard?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's like a foot long. It's probably only like this long, but still.
Okay.
It's green and it looks angry. Just stay over there. Sorry. Become drowsy, right?
Yeah, start falling asleep.
Yeah. I mean, we've all seen that person who like just has like 1,000-yard stare going on, right? They just can't really focus on anything.
Yeah, and just that inability to focus. They can't. Is this a 10 or is this a 20? You know, that sort of like can't read the bills and stuff like that. You gotta go deal with the lizard.
Yeah. I'm gonna open up the door in case he wants to try to get out.
So, you know, these are all signs of slow reaction times. So again, things we look for: impaired motor coordination.
I don't know. That seemed like a good idea. Like I often carry a bottle of beer in my mouth as I'm walking down the stairs.
And if it looks like he was actually riding a skateboard down the stairs.
Oh, it is. You know, that the only part that they went wrong here is they should have put a piece of like, you know, wood.
So impaired motor coordination, sign that people are intoxicated. So if they stagger or stumble, bump into things, knock things over, drop stuff and drop your keys and can't pick them up, stuff like that, that's a sign that, you know, someone may be intoxicated. They spill their drinks or miss their mouth with their drink, they might be intoxicated. If they slur their speech, they might be intoxicated.
This feels a lot like you might be a redneck type situation. Yeah.
So next concept we're going to jump onto is tolerance. So tolerance is not the ability to have a lower BAC. Tolerance is basically becoming used to becoming intoxicated.
Yeah.
So it's the ability to handle alcohol without the usual signs. So one of the things about alcohol is it you know, depresses your inhibitions. So this is sort of like learned behavior. It's like, well, I can deal with this, and my behavior isn't altered, you know. And so the thing is, you still have a high BAC. Your physical reactions are still slowed down. But an experienced drinker, someone who has consumed alcohol for a long time, becomes able to deal with this and function better. But the thing is, it doesn't change their BAC. They are still legally intoxicated. You can't serve them anymore, even if they have a high tolerance.
Yeah.
So two types of patrons that we might want to be aware of this with are both regulars and inexperienced drinkers. So your regular, they come in every day, they have a beer, they never, their behavior never changes. Doesn't change the fact that if they're overserved, they're still
well, it's a liability to you. for over serving them, even if
So
they don't show the typical
Blizzard's
signs.
still there.
Yeah, it is. It's like looking at me.
Yeah, I can see you keep looking up at the lizard.
Well, I mean, the thing, it'll twitch, right? And it just did like one of these motions. Like,
Well, what's going to happen is the minute you turn away from it and start looking at the screen, it's going to jump on you.
I know this. It's actually moving, and it's just slowly going on the wall right now towards me. Anyways, so
other type of inexperienced drinkers.
Yeah.
So inexperienced drinkers don't know how to deal with the effects of alcohol. They don't know how to deal with the lower inhibitions, and so their behavior sort of becomes exaggerated.
Well, they might not know the pacing to keep them from showing those behaviors and symptoms,
Absolutely.
which is usually what a regular drinker is able to do.
So this is, it becomes really important to have both people trained to observe and to train your staff to communicate. And what you want to do is you want to monitor guests from the minute they arrive. So that means the valet, if you have a valet that parks their car, the valet should be trained on how to spot signs of intoxication. Mm-hmm. Somebody stumbles out of their car, drops their keys, and 8 beer bottles fall out of their car when they get out. Well, yeah, they're probably intoxicated. But you need to train your valets to look for more subtle signs. And then they have to be trained to communicate. So if the valet says, this person's coming in, I think that they may have had a drink before they got here. I'm not entirely sure. Just, so the manager is then aware to keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
So your valets, your wait staff, your bus staff, your bartenders, your security people, your hostess, your greeters, everyone should be trained to observe and communicate.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just one person's problem or issue.
And this is not a punitive thing for the person who's drinking. What you're doing is you're wanting to guarantee that everyone has a good experience.
Yeah.
And so you train your staff on how to look for signs of people who may have had too much. So, like I said, valets often have that first contact. And one of the things is if you have a guest who arrives intoxicated, you probably, as much as you can, want to prevent them from coming in if you can. And at the very least, you want to make your manager aware. We have someone coming in, I think they're intoxicated already. And so things we look for, erratic driving. They come in and they run over a planter, when they're parking, they're pulling up,
Yeah.
Difficulty getting it between the lines.
I don't know. If you go to Walmart nearby, you're going to see a lot of people who might be intoxicated.
Yeah.
If we're judging by their parking skills.
They have a hard time getting out of the car. They have a hard time speaking clearly. Mm-hmm. They smell like alcohol. Yes, to any of these, notify your manager. It's like, okay, we have a person coming in. We should probably be aware so that they're not overserved. So, security and greeters.
Sometimes, if you have a problem, we wait until there is a problem, before we take care of it.
You want to be nice until it's
time to not be nice. Yeah.
So, security and greeters and hosts or hostesses, when the person comes in, are they speaking clearly and rationally? Are they rambling? Are they incoherent? Is their speech slurred? Can they make eye contact? Are they staggering?
Yeah. And I hate to, be devil's advocate, but it's hard sometimes to tell between a speech impediment and somebody who might be intoxicated. So best judgment. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing is all of this is sort of, we're training staff to be aware and to share information. And ultimately, it comes down to the manager to make the call usually. Mm-hmm. Now the bus staff is in a good position because often when people are dining out, the bus staff is almost invisible to them. If someone comes by to take the bread basket away or to refill their water or whatever, take something off the table, people don't pay attention to them. So that person is able to kind of, in a way, to observe this person, their natural habitat. So if that person is louder, if they're intoxicated, the bus staff is kind of in a unique position to observe it. Or if they've, the bus staff gets here and they can tell they've spilled their drink or they've knocked their food over. That's a sign. Are they looking sleepy or tired? Are they kind of slumped over? In any of these cases, bus staff should notify a manager.
Makes sense.
So the goal is to prevent guests from becoming intoxicated.
Yeah, from getting to that point of pretty much no return.
Right.
Where no matter what happens next, it could end badly.
We want them to have fun. We want them to have a nice time. We do not want them to be overserved.
Yeah.
So what do we do? Well, we can offer food.
Mm-hmm.
So as I've said earlier, food slows down. If you have a full stomach, it slows down the absorption of alcohol. So we want to give food that are high in fat and protein. So pizza, chicken wings, cheese, deep fried items. These are high in fat. So they're likely to slow down the absorption of alcohol. Giving someone a pretzel, not a great choice for a number of reasons. One, it's salty, so they're going to drink more. Two, it's carbohydrates, which they are digested more quickly, so they don't slow down the absorption of alcohol. So we want to avoid food that are high in sugar and carbohydrates, things like bread. So breadsticks, pretzels, most desserts are going to be poor choices if you're trying to prevent someone from becoming intoxicated. And then avoid things that are salty that are going to encourage people to drink. Offer water. So one way to help prevent people from becoming intoxicated is when you bring them a drink, bring them a glass of water. So if you're drinking water, you're going to fill up fast. So you're going to slow down your rate of consumption of alcohol.
Yeah.
Make sure the water glass stays refilled.
Yeah. Pretty much just, they get a beer, bring them a water with, or whatever they get, It doesn't hurt.
A bad manager is going to look at this as well. If they're drinking water, they're not paying to drink alcohol. But, the thing is, all it's going to take is to be sued and to lose your liquor license, you're out of business.
Yeah.
Don't overpour when making mixed drinks. So when you're overpouring is like putting too much alcohol in a drink, which makes it difficult to count the number of drinks. So if I make a drink and don't follow a recipe, if I make it larger than normal, it's hard to count how many drinks are actually there, especially if someone else is doing the observing. It also makes it hard if you're pouring particularly large or strong drinks. The guests can't judge. So, we all kind of know how much alcohol we can safely consume and not have an effect. But if you're pouring me doubles and I'm not aware of that, then I am going to consume too much.
Yeah.
I had this happen I went to the Great Lakes Brewery with my wife around Christmas one year, and we went to the bar, got a beer, got a Christmas ale. They have delicious Christmas ale. Knocked those back. Then with dinner, before we got sat, we finally got to our table. My wife orders another beer, so now she's had two, because three is kind of that's plenty for her over the course of a couple hours for dinner. So she has another beer with dinner. And then it's good beer, so she has another. So she's had three beers. She had three Christmas ales. The problem is they're 11% alcohol. She was unaware of that. So she had in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 beers and was complete. And she's like, what happened? And it's like, well, you drank 3 Christmas ales. She's like, why does that matter? It's like, well, because they have 11% alcohol. And so it makes it difficult for guests to kind of pace their own drinking if you're overpouring.
Well, and that's part of there's pros and cons of putting the ABV on the menu.
Yeah.
To the immature, they're going to use it as, well, the Christmas ale has more bang for its buck. I can drink more of them. The more mature, responsible guests are going to look at it and be like, okay, that's triple what I normally drink. So
I was actually had that happen where I took students on a study abroad, and I had them in a pub in England where they are required by law to put the ABV on the tap handles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was explaining to the students why that was there. And it's like, so that you can have a drink and drink responsibly, especially because it's more common to say drink at lunch there, so that you can drink and then go back to work. And so they put the ABV in. So I'm trying to teach the students to drink responsibly. And the lesson they took away from it was how to become drunk more efficiently.
Well, I mean, that is responsible, money-wise. So.
And the last thing we want to do is not serve more than 1 drink at a time. So you're not, someone comes in and you can't serve someone 2 martinis or 3 martinis at once. You don't serve more than 1 drink at a time. because
That makes sense.
they have to reorder. Okay, so I think that's it for the signs of intoxication.
Ah, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciated this. It was fun.
And next week we will talk about more about the legal environment, more about responsible alcohol service, and then we'll start getting into wine after that, I think.
Sounds great. Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Matt.
Bye.